Well, those prices of oil, we've seen generally higher prices of oil, something that Baytex Energy is concerned with. This is a Canadian oil and gas producer that has seen its stock soar about 84% over the past year, and the company operates in British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, as well as the United States. Anthony Marino is president and CEO. He joins us now to discuss the outlook for the company as well as the price of oil. I know you're not an oil analyst necessarily, but clearly any energy company at this stage has its fate tied to a certain respect with the price of commodities, oil specifically. So let's talk a little bit about your company, the correlation with oil prices. And I'm always wondering, when I see energy prices rising and I see a number of the companies in that sector also rising, if perhaps stock investors assume that there's too much correlation between the two.
Well, there's no question that our fortunes are going to be significantly tied to the price of oil. About 84% of our product mix, 91% of our reserve mix is oil. So our cash flows are definitely going to be correlated with oil prices.
So oil is generally higher. I mean, on a daily basis, there's quite a bit of volatility. But you just reported your first quarter results, and they missed analyst estimates. What was behind that?
Well, it was actually quite a strong quarter for us. We did have nearly $110 million of cash flow. We had a record production level, nearly 47,000 barrels equivalent per day. I think in comparison to some analyst estimates, the pricing that we received was a little bit lower than expected due to sloppy oil market conditions in Western Canada during the first quarter of the year.
So where do you expect oil to go going forward, and how do you actually hedge for that, and how does that impact your earnings?
Okay, first of all, with respect to expectations for oil, we do have underlying demand growth, particularly in the emerging countries, emerging market economies. At the same time, we've had a significant drop in surplus production capacity due to the MENA unrest over the past few months, and those conditions are generally a recipe for higher oil prices. The impact on earnings is sometimes kind of volatile. For example, in the first quarter, earnings were depressed as a result of a mark-to-market loss on hedges. Now, we do hedge consistently about 1/4 to 1/2 of our production with respect to each of our price exposures, such as WTI, the heavy oil differential, and currency. And it's through that hedging program that we seek to control the volatility of our cash flows.
All right, very quickly, I want to talk about the project that you have in the northwest of Alberta called SEAL and how that's going to factor into the future of the company.
Yeah, the SEAL areas in the Peace River oil sands of northern Alberta. These are oil sands leases, but it's not what people typically think of as oil sands in the Fort McMurray area. In Peace River, we don't do any mining. It's primarily cold flow production, which is a very, very low-cost form of heavy oil production. Operating costs around $3 a barrel, development costs around $4 a barrel. Very high rates of return on this development. We can drill roughly a $2 million well and produce 400 to 500 barrels a day. So well payouts that are in the range of a few months. So very efficient type of production. It's it's readily possible for us to significantly increase our production rates, and we've been doing that for the past few years in SEAL, and it's been a big part of our growth story. Going forward, we're going to augment this cold production at SEAL with thermal development as well. We have our first module of thermal development, or steam injection development, going on in 2011. And in the future, we'll have growth augmented through this steam development at the same time that we're ramping up the cold production.
All right. Well, we do appreciate you joining us, giving us that insight and some interesting insight into the oil market and an update on your company. That was Anthony Marino, CEO of Baytex.